At 3:17, Earth lost its modern fleet. At 3:21, the Khar Dominion announced surrender terms. At 3:26, a retired captain in a decommissioned warship gave one order that made the entire galaxy stop laughing. Turn off every light in the solar system. One by one, Earth's defense stations went dark. Mars stopped broadcasting. Lunar docks killed their signals. Civilian ships vanished into silent emergency routes. To the galaxy, it looked like panic. To Captain Raya Kade, it was the beginning of a trap. She stood on the bridge of the Gravewind, an old Earth defense cruiser that should have been resting in a museum yard. Its armor was patched. Its engines groaned during hard turns. Its weapons still used manual loaders and pressure checks. Raya was 68 years old. Her hands were steady, her face lined, and her name had not appeared in a war council for 11 years. But now every modern Earth warship was trapped beyond the collapsed Helios Gate. No fast destroyers, no drone carriers, no shield cruisers. Only the retired fleet remained between Earth and invasion. The Khar Dominion saw the same thing and laughed across open channels. Their commander was Vec, a cold strategist with a simple belief. Old machines belonged under alien boots. His armada crossed Saturn's defense line in perfect formation. Black carriers, knife-shaped escorts, assault ships carrying thousands of soldiers. Vec looked at the human ships gathering near the moon and smiled. They brought their ancestors to die, he said. The first car carrier moved forward to crush the nearest old vessel. Its target was a repair ship called the Amber Jackal. The ship looked harmless. Wide body, slow engines, ugly hull. Then Captain Raya gave her second order. Open the graveyard. Thousands of dead satellites, broken panels, cold fuel shells, and metal fragments drifted out from hidden lunar storage fields. The carrier entered the cloud at full confidence. Its sensors filled with false shapes. Its targeting system split one ship into 100 ghosts. Then the Gravewind fired a single tungsten round from a cannon older than Vec's empire. The carrier's command tower broke apart. Its engines shut down. Its escorts lost contact. On every car screen, the carrier vanished. Across the galaxy, laughter ended. Captain Raya looked at Earth glowing below the moon. Now, she said, they know the dead fleet can bite. The retired fleet had not been built for glory. It had been saved for one terrible hour. 20 years earlier, Captain Raya Kade had watched Earth become too dependent on perfect machines. Every new warship joined a central battle network. Every cannon needed remote targeting. Every jump route depended on gate stability and shared navigation codes. The system was fast. It was powerful. It was also fragile. Raya warned the Defense Council after the border crisis. If one enemy blinds the network, our strongest ships become metal coffins. They praised her service. Then they ignored her warning. A younger admiral told her, Captain, the future does not need old valves and hand-fired guns. Raya answered with one sentence. The future always arrives with a knife hidden behind its back. After retirement, she was given a ceremonial role managing decommissioned ships. Most officers considered it a polite way to keep an old captain busy. Raya treated it like command. She gathered retired mechanics, old navigators, former rescue pilots, and forgotten weapons crews. She chose people with tired bodies but trained minds. They knew how to restart dead engines, patch hulls without drones, guide ships by stars, and fight when computers lied. The plan was named Black Lantern. No speeches. No parade, no public funding, only old crews practicing in the dark beyond the moon. They rehearsed silent movement, manual firing, false retreats, civilian evacuation routes, mercy shots against engines and weapons instead of reactors. Raya had one rule carved into every training room: defend Earth without losing the soul of Earth. Now Black Lantern was alive. Old tankers near Venus spread reflective mist. Mars mirror arrays turned toward the sun. Lunar repair yards released clouds of sensor-breaking scrap. Civilian stations hid behind cold shields. The Khar saw weakness because they expected fear. Raya saw a battlefield built from patience. Chief Mechanic Davin Creel stood beside the engine board of the Gravewind. He was 73, slow on stairs, brilliant under pressure. "Second car wave is adjusting," he said. "They are learning fast." Raya watched the enemy formation tighten. Good commanders learn, proud ones learn late. Then a young signals officer froze. "Captain, we found something inside the Helios Gate records." Raya turned. The officer's voice dropped. The gate did not collapse from overload. The bridge went quiet. "What caused it?" Raya asked. The officer looked at Earth's trapped fleet marker beyond the dead gate. "A command pulse from inside our own solar system." For the first time that day, Raya's expression changed. The attack had not begun at Saturn. Someone had opened Earth's door from within. Raya understood the danger at once. If a hidden car device had collapsed the Helios Gate, it might still be transmitting. It could expose civilian routes. It could blind Black Lantern. It could trap Earth's modern fleet forever. The old ships were not only fighting an invasion. They were hunting a knife buried inside their own home. The signal trail pointed toward an abandoned communication station near Mockery. For 30 years, it had been listed as dead equipment. Now it was pulsing in short bursts, hidden beneath solar noise. Vec's armada pressed toward Earth while the station continued feeding him pieces of human defense data. Raya had to split her weak force. That was exactly what Vec wanted. He sent 2 destroyers toward the Gravewind, forcing Raya to stay near Earth. So she called the oldest ship in the fleet, the Blue Anvil. It was a mining tug with armor welded over its cargo spine. Its captain, Musa Dar, was 76 and had spent most of his life moving damaged ships away from burning stations. He was no hero in the history books. That made him perfect. "Musa," Raya said, "can your tug reach Mercury silent?" His answer came through a scratchy voice channel. "Silent, yes. Fast, no. Fast is not required." "What is required?" "Courage and careful hands." The Blue Anvil drifted toward Mercury with engines barely warm. It hid behind solar glare while Vec's destroyers searched for warships. They never looked for a mining tug. Musa reached the station and saw the device attached to its lower frame. It was small, black, and alive with alien code. Destroying it would be easy. Disabling it without triggering a final pulse would be harder. Musa sent one old mechanic outside in a repair suit. Her name was Talia Voss, 65 years old, former dock engineer. Her hands shook when she was tired, but not when work mattered. She cut the device free one wire at a time. Back near Earth, the car destroyers closed on the Gravewind. Davin shouted from engineering, "We cannot take both." Raya studied the enemy angle. "We do not need to take both." She ordered the Gravewind to roll into the shadow of a dead satellite field. The destroyers followed. Old rail cannons fired from hidden patrol ships. One destroyer lost weapons, the other lost engines. At Mercury, Talia pulled the final wire. The betrayal signal died. Across the battlefield, the car formation staggered. Vec stood from his command throne. For the first time, he was fighting blind. The battle changed after the signal died. Car ships no longer moved like one body. Their carriers hesitated. Their escorts searched for targets that had already vanished. Their assault craft waited for commands that arrived too late. Raya knew hesitation would not last. "Begin lantern fall," she ordered. Every retired ship moved at once. The old tanker line near Venus released a silver storm of reflective vapor. Sunlight struck it and scattered across car optics. Mars mirrors pushed hard beams against enemy shield towers. The light did not burn through armor, but it forced the shields to turn. When the shields shifted, the Gravewind and 4 patrol cutters fired into exposed weapon mounts. 3 car destroyers fell silent. One carrier lost its launch deck. Another drifted into the path of its own escorts. Still, Vec pushed forward. He had one carrier left with a gravity lance strong enough to tear open Earth's orbital shield. If he reached firing range, millions of civilians could die in the invasion that followed. Then the human line suffered its worst hit. The patrol ship Quiet Harbor took a car missile through its engine block. Its captain, Vanishes, was a retired rescue officer who had saved more lives than he had ever taken. Escape pods burst from his ship in a thin line of white sparks. A car destroyer turned its guns toward them. Raya saw the threat. She also saw Vec's final carrier crossing into range. Her weapons officer spoke quickly. "Captain, we have one clean shot at the carrier." The bridge waited. The right military choice seemed obvious. Destroy the carrier. Save Earth first. But Raya watched the escape pods drifting helplessly between burning ships. If she abandoned them, Black Lantern would win by becoming the thing it claimed to resist. She gave the order, "Protect the pods." The weapons officer fired. The Gravewind struck the car destroyer's gun array seconds before it fired. The escape pods reached a rescue net behind the lunar field. The final carrier survived. A young officer turned pale. "Captain, that was our shot." Raya looked at him, not angry, not soft. "No, that was our test." Vec watched from his flagship. He expected old humans to cling to survival at any cost. Instead, their captain had risked Earth's defense to save defenseless crews. He finally understood why his invasion was failing. These ships were not dangerous because they were old. They were dangerous because the people inside them still knew what they were defending. Vec brought his final carrier toward Earth. Its gravity lance charged like a dark sunrise. The Gravewind moved to intercept, damaged and shaking. One cannon remained. One full-power round sat in the loading rail. Davin Creel stood at the manual release column. "The coil will crack after firing," he said. Raya kept her eyes on the carrier. "Will the round fly straight? If the old girl forgives us, she has forgiven worse." Vec placed wreckage between his carrier and the human ship. Broken cargo frames, damaged rescue craft, and drifting hull plates formed a shield Raya would refuse to fire through. He had learned her mercy. He thought that made her weak. Raya opened a channel to the Blue Anvil, now returning from Mockery. "Musa, can you move a road through that wreckage?" The old tug captain looked at the field. "One narrow road. That is all we need." The Blue Anvil pushed forward under enemy fire. Its engines burned low and steady. It nudged wreckage aside, not with speed, but with the patient skill of a pilot who had spent 50 years saving broken ships from worse places. Car escorts turned to destroy it. Raya ordered every old patrol cutter to cover the tug. Manual guns fired. Old engines screamed. Retired crews held formation with discipline younger officers would have called impossible. The corridor opened. Small. Brief. Enough. Vec saw the line too late. "Close the gap," he shouted. Raya raised her hand. "Target the gravity lance. Avoid crew sections." The bridge became still. No music, no cheering. Only breath pressure and the sound of an old weapon waking for the final time. Davin pulled the release. The Gravewind fired. The tungsten round crossed the narrow corridor and struck the gravity lance at its root. The weapon collapsed inward. Energy burst away from Earth into empty space. Vec's carrier lost power across its forward frame. Its escorts stopped advancing. Its invasion died at the edge of the planet it had come to conquer. A message arrived from Vec's crippled ship. "You could have fired at our reactor," he said. Raya's voice carried no hatred. "Yes. Why spare us?" "Because Earth needed defenders, not butchers." Long silence followed. Then the car ships powered down their weapons. 3 days later, the Helios Gate reopened. Earth's modern fleet returned, expecting ruins and mourning. Instead, they found the retired fleet still holding the line. Damaged ships, exhausted crews, old captains standing watch over a living world. Young admirals boarded the Gravewind without speaking. They looked at cracked valves, manual guns, hand-marked star charts, and crews who had been dismissed as history. No one laughed. Captain Raya Kade stood by the viewport as Earth turned below. Davin Creel leaned beside her. "Think they learned?" Raya watched the sunrise touch the old ship's broken hull. "No," she said. "They remembered. Some walls are built from steel. Some are built from strategy. And some are built by people the galaxy was foolish enough to forget." Subscribe.